Welcome to Triumph IAS. It's a daily mains practice question and answer series. This program is exclusively designed for UPSC CSE aspirants. In this video discussion, we will discuss UPSC CSE mains previous 25-year questions. Question number 1. What is the basis of regionalism? Is it that unequal distribution of benefits of development on regional basis eventually promotes regionalism? Substantiate your answer. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. The basis of regionalism can be either natural or anthropogenic. Regionalism can be based on natural factors like climate, physical features, natural vegetation, rainfall, etc. Similarly, it can be based on anthropogenic factors like ethnic identity, religion, language, food habits, festivals, etc. At times, regionalism can also be driven by historical or political factors. The main body of the answer should be: Number 1. In India, multiple factors forms basis of regionalism. Unequal distribution of benefits emerging out of the development process and sense of relative deprivation also fuel regional aspirations. Despite of all its diversity, India has survived as a nation for centuries. But in modern times, we see emerging regional aspirations sometimes within the framework of constitution and sometimes outside it. Number 2. Unequal distribution of benefits of development on regional basis does not necessarily promote regionalism, as we see varying factors behind regional aspirations. Number 3. Those areas which are traditionally backward because of multiple factors need special concessions from state. For example, the union government always treat the Himalayan states and the northeastern region differently while implementing government schemes. Similarly, special category status is granted to certain states on the basis of level of development. Number 4. The separatist demand in Punjab and Tamil Nadu were based on identity and had nothing to do with development. Similarly, the insurgency in Northeast is result of both neglect from government and feeling of minority identity. Number 5. The unrest in J&K is largely fueled by the hostile neighborhood. However, it can be said that the regional aspirations in Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and Uttarakhand were driven by the low level of development and opportunities in the region. The conclusion of the answer is: thus, the need of the hour is to develop a realistic perception of regionalism at the conceptual level, focusing on righteousness and judicious outlook, maintaining unity in diversity. With the promotion of cooperative federalism, establishment of Niti Aayog, interstate council, the negative connotation of regionalism can be further diluted and more inclusive and faster growth can be achieved. Question number 2. WTO is an important international institution where decisions taken affect countries in profound manner. What is the mandate of WTO and how binding are their decisions? Critically analyze India's stand on the latest round of talks on food security. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. World Trade Organization, WTO, as an international organization, intends to supervise and liberalize international trade. It aims to remove the trade barriers across nations and quest for integrating the world economy. Moving on to the main body of the answer. The organization deals with trade between participating countries by providing a framework for negotiating and formalizing trade agreement. WTO also provides for a dispute resolution process aimed at enforcing participant adherence to WTO agreement. With changing nature of the world economy and rise of many new centers of economic power, the functioning of WTO has undergone dramatic changes in the recent past. The principal force behind the changing norms are the continuously rising share of national output that is traded internationally, the collapse of central planning, and developing countries rejecting imports in favor of developmental strategies based on integration into the global economies. Mandates of WTO. Number 1. It facilitates exchange of information and provides incentives for parties to come to a mutually agreed settlement. Number 2. If one party violates the provisions, another should not be obliged to continue to perform its obligation with respect to the wrongdoer. Number 3. It provides for compensation to repair damage caused by the breach of an agreement. To victims of the breach, it brings about conformity with the rules to ensure compliance. Number 4. It clarifies the rules to facilitate compliance or settlement in the specific case, as well as to guide future conduct. Number 5. India had decided not to join the consensus in the WTO on the implementation of the Trade Facilitation Agreement till her concerns relating to the decision on public stockholding for food security purposes were addressed. Number 6. The concern was the outdated WTO rule that caps subsidies to farmers in developing countries at 10% of the total value of agricultural production, based on 1986 to 1988 prices. Number 7. India was able to resolve differences with the USA and persuade them to support in the WTO on countries' requirements. Number 8. General Council of the WTO later adopted a decision under which WTO members will not challenge the public stockholding programs of developing country members for food security purposes in relation to certain obligations under the WTO Agreement on Agriculture, will remain in place in perpetuity until a permanent solution regarding this issue has been agreed and adopted. Number 9. The indefinite continuation of the waiver mechanism ensures the interest of the WTO membership in expeditiously working towards a permanent solution and protects us from the risk of having to accept an unsuitable solution under the threat of a limited duration peace clause coming to an end. The conclusion of the answer is: the decision includes a commitment to find a permanent solution on public stockholding for food security purposes by 31st December 2015 on a best endeavor basis. Question number 3. What do you understand by standard positioning systems and protection positioning systems in the GPS era? Discuss the advantages India perceives from its ambitious IRNS program employing just 7 satellites. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. Standard Positioning Service, SPS, is a level of GPS service intended for civilian applications, while Precise Positioning Service, PPS, is for military applications. PPS uses additional signals and was originally about 10 times more accurate than PPS and has other performance advantages. However, it is only available to authorized users, requires keys. Industry has largely overcome the accuracy limitations of SPS. The main body of the answer is: IRNS stands for Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. It is a set of satellites which together can provide India a regional positioning system similar to the GPS. According to the ISRO website, the system is designed to give position accuracy better than 20 meters to users in its primary coverage area. It can also service regions extending up to 1,500 kilometers around India's boundary. There are currently 7 IRNS satellites, 1A to 1G, in orbit. A, B, F, G are placed in a geosynchronous orbit, which means they seem to be at a fixed location above the Earth and they orbit along with the Earth. The remaining 3, C, D, E, are located in geostationary orbit. They seem to be at a fixed location above the Earth along the equator and orbit along with the Earth. GPS has 31 satellites, while IRNS has only 7 satellites. Though GPS has 24 satellites, the number of satellites visible to the ground receiver is limited. The 24 satellites are in medium Earth orbit. At any time, at any given location, at least 4 satellites must be within the view of the receiver. In the case of IRNS, the 7 satellites are in geosynchronous orbits, hence always visible to a receiver in a region L 500 km around India. Another point is that the satellites are nearly vertical over India, and therefore visibility in urban canyons is much better than in the case of the GPS. The benefits of IRNS program. Number 1. IRNS is an independent regional navigation satellite system being developed by India. It is designed to provide accurate position information service to users in India, as well as the region extending up to 1,500 kilometers from its boundary, which is its primary service area. Number 2. These satellites help not just in land navigation but also in marine and aerial navigation. The data from these satellites can be used to give vehicle drivers visual and voice navigation assistance. They also help in disaster management. The conclusion of the answer is IRNS will provide two types of services, namely, Standard Positioning Service, SPS, which is provided to all the users, and Restricted Service, RUPES, which is an encrypted service provided only to the authorized users. The IRNS system is expected to provide a position accuracy of better than 20 meters in the primary service area.